Tale of Tales director swore this scene was cut, but we found it. What does it reveal about the ending? You won't believe your eyes that ain't the beginning of the film. We are introduced to the king of Long Trellis, who loved his queen dearly. Despite his devotion, the queen was consumed with sorrow over her inability to bear children. The king, desperate to ease her pain, summoned every physician in the kingdom to cure her infertility, but none could offer a solution to lift her spirits. The king invited circus performers to the castle to entertain her. Among them was a pregnant woman. Seeing her, the queen's grief turned to rage, and she began destroying things around her in frustration. She eventually retreated to her room. Still heartbroken the next day, an old, tall, slender man arrived at the castle, claiming he could help. The king was skeptical, stating that many had come with the same promise. The man responded by asking how far the king and queen were willing to go for a child. Their answer was clear: to the very last limit. The man explained the balance of nature, stating that to gain life, another must be sacrificed. The king agreed. He was tasked with slaying a sea creature and retrieving its heart. A virgin would then cook the heart for the queen, who would conceive after eating it. Determined, the king hunted the massive white sea monster and, after a fierce battle, killed it. However, he was mortally wounded in the process and died immediately after removing the heart. The queen returned to the castle with the heart. A pure and unmarried maid was ordered to cook it, but during the preparation, she experienced strange feelings and also became pregnant. After the queen consumed the heart, just as predicted, she too conceived. Eventually, both women gave birth to sons on the same day. The queen named her son Elias, and the maid named hers Jonah. 16 years passed, and the boys, who looked identical and had white hair like the sea creature, grew up as close friends. They shared a mysterious ability to breathe underwater and often visited the river where the monster had been slain. However, the queen disapproved of their bond and frequently reminded Elias that he was royalty, unlike Jonah. Despite her protests, Elias continued to meet Jonah in secret. The queen warned the maid to stop her son or face banishment. One day, Jonah impersonated Elias and visited the queen, who didn't recognize the switch but grew suspicious. Upon discovering the truth, she decided to exile Elias. Jonah comforted Elias, cutting a tree and letting water flow from it. He told Elias that as long as the water ran clear, he was alive. If the water turned red, his life was in danger. Months later, Elias noticed the water had turned red. Without telling the queen, he left the kingdom in search of Jonah. After a long journey, he found Jonah's home and learned Jonah had married. Mistaken for Jonah due to their identical appearance, Elias discovered Jonah had entered the jungle days earlier and hadn't returned. Elias ventured into the jungle and found Jonah severely injured and under attack by a flying monster. Elias bravely fought and killed the beast, only to learn too late that it was his mother, transformed. This tragic fulfillment of the old man's warning, a life for a life, saved Jonah. Elias became the new king of Long Trellis, and the story ended. The story number 2. The greedy old woman and a lecherous king. The second tale follows another king, a lecherous man constantly surrounded by women and wine, yet unable to find a queen he truly loved. In a nearby village lived two elderly unmarried sisters, Dora and Ima, whose voices remained youthful despite their age. One morning, the king heard one of them singing and became captivated following the voice. He found Dora, whose cunning heart saw this as a chance for a better life. They promised the king that if he returned in a week, he would see a part of one of their bodies. Dora tried to make her fingers appear youthful using herbs, but failed and cried. Meanwhile, Ima simply kept her finger in her mouth to soften it, which surprisingly worked. When the week passed, Dora deceitfully showed Ima's youthful-looking finger to the king. Overcome with lust, the king demanded a secret meeting. Dora insisted it be held in total darkness. At midnight, Ima disguised herself and went to the castle, her body bound tightly with glue to appear young. The king, unaware of her true identity, spent the night with her. When daylight came, the king was horrified to discover he had slept with an old woman. In a fit of rage, he threw Dora from the castle window. She survived, landing in the forest, where a witch transformed her into a beautiful young woman with long hair the next day. While hunting in the forest, the king encountered Dora again, now young and enchanting. He fell in love and brought her to the castle to make her queen. Dora invited her sister Ima to the wedding, who was shocked to see her sister transformed. Dora jokingly said she had removed her old skin. Ima took her seriously and bribed a blacksmith to remove her skin, resulting in her gruesome death. Dora's magic faded eventually, and she aged rapidly. Realizing the truth, she fled the kingdom. Her story ended in sadness and regret. That's story number 3. The Insect and the Lonely Princess, the final tale, takes place in yet another kingdom, where a strange and melancholic king ruled. His queen had died long ago, leaving behind a daughter named Violet, whom he never truly loved. One day, the king found a parasite that fed on his blood. Fascinated, he kept it in a glass container and let it feed on him daily, even as it grew larger over time to Violet. Now a young woman, dreamed of love and a prince, but her father remained obsessed with the parasite. Eventually, the insect died. Grief-stricken, the king decided it was time to find Violet a husband. He announced a competition. Whoever could identify the parasite skin would win her hand in marriage. People from across the kingdom failed to identify it. Then came a terrifying creature-like man who correctly named the insect. True to his word, the king gave Violet to him, despite her pleas. The monstrous man took her far away into the mountains, where she cried for days. One day, while the monster was away hunting, Violet spotted another woman trapped on a nearby mountain. She called for help, and the woman's son tried to save her with a rope. But the monster returned, climbed the rope, and killed everyone except Violet. When he picked her up, Violet hugged him calmly, causing his anger to fade. Taking advantage of the moment, she cleverly slit his throat. She returned to the kingdom and placed the monster's head before the king. Her father, broken and ill from the parasite's toll, died soon after. Violet ascended to the throne and became queen. Thus, the third story ended, and so did the film. Still confused about the ending? Don't worry, even the actors were. Let's argue about it below, and hit subscribe for more chaos. Thanks for watching.